So as part of CISO platform, I did conducted 2 days network forensic training in Delhi last time. And anyway, we'll be covering, I think later on also, I'll be conducting more trainings on the same field. This is just a small quick breezer about what I do and what kind of things will be covered. And in general, I can give you a brief idea about what is this field is about. Since the time is very short, I won't be able to cover the entire, because forensic itself is a very vast domain, and like on a short span of time is difficult to cover. So what I prefer to do is I try to make it little more interactive, less technical, but conveying the messages towards you guys, so that you can understand the theme of this presentation. Make it a little funnier as well, and let's see how it goes. So feel free to stop me anytime if you have any questions. Otherwise, we'll proceed as we planned, right? So, yep. So I work as a security engineer. I was a developer, then I moved to security out of my own interest, and I've done a couple of certifications also. My primary area of expertise and interest was forensics and cybercrime investigation. But based on industry's requirement, we realized that a lot of focus is in application security area. So I kind of explored that, and offensive security also. So I kind of, let's say I want to put it like that, I am jack of all trade, probably master of something, or maybe nothing. I do conducted sessions and talk in multiple conferences, other conferences like OWASP, Nalcon, and Klavak, Cocoon. I am a mentor for SANS as well, 504 course, Hacking Exploits, and member of a lot of communities, which in turn helped me to learn a lot, because community is something which is pretty strong in this domain, and that's the reason also we are here. And I always encourage people to kind of get into community and learn through like, let's say, crowd learning kind of concept, right? This is something I just, me and one of my ex-colleague, we created the website, and the idea is actually, we realized that weekends is some time, only time after the day jobs we have, and we'd like to kind of learn something, and weekend is the only time we have. So we created this site where we try to conduct sessions on security through Google Hangouts. So if you guys are interested, you can go explore the site, register yourself. And probably whenever we plan a session, we plan on a Saturday or Sunday. It's a small 1-hour session we conduct for a weekend. You can just get a registration and you can attend that for free. There's no charge for this. Oops. Yep. So a few disclaimers. So the things which I'm going to cover, obviously that is more of my personal opinion and always my personal observation. And there's nothing like it doesn't mean to hurt anybody, and as well as this is only for educational purpose. If you say anything offensive or anything, please excuse me, and you can give me the feedback so that I can change it later on, so that it doesn't offend anybody, right? Yeah, as I told you, we will be covering everything in network forensics because the domain is very big. So we'll just cover some aspects and like some sort of approaches which we take on this, because it's very vast, and if you really want to learn Wireshark or network forensics and these kind of things, definitely you have to spend a lot of time, because the domain, the tools, the features itself are very big. So let's say network forensics. So what is the primary component of it? Obviously the packets, right? Network packets. And so that means we do have to do packet analysis. So why, if you talk about forensics, there are different domains. We have computer forensics, let's say hard disk forensics, hard disk and there, network is another part. So why we want to do a network forensics rather doing, let's say, normal generic forensics where we explore like the data in the hard disk and stuff like that? Any idea why we require this domain? Why we need network forensics? Any thoughts? Any pointers? Okay. So let's say I give you the host itself, I give you the laptop. From there the attack has originated. okay, how the attack has happened, and okay, sorry. Right.
Sometimes the command line control center is used basically whatever you will find the host that
Mhm.
attack came from this place, but in exactly that is not place. Attacker is somewhere else.
Exactly.
So through the network traffic analysis, we can find something.
Right. Yeah. So yeah. So let's put it this way that you work on an organization, right? So you have control over that organization and that network. If an outsider is trying to attack you, you don't have a control there. What you can do is only you can look into your area, your domain, and the kind of the infrastructure you have access. And the best thing to do is obviously through network, even though there are problems, because if you talk about network, there will be millions of packets in a large scale organization. It's very difficult to pinpoint and identify a specific like attacks which is packets which is related to an attack, right? There will be a lot of noises like random packets and random data. So there are challenges, but then still people prefer to do it because it is somewhere where you can see everything. It's like an holistic overview. Like if you go to this specific laptop, you get the data of this. But if you go one level above, like the network level, you can see the entire area, what exactly is going on. So the few reasons. One is obviously network is the best place to look into the entire organization. So you can see easily what are the things going on there. And the good part is packet is something where the data is not hidden. Actually, packet has all the content, raw data has to be there. Maybe it's encrypted. Maybe you're doing some communication through encryption or channel, but still it has to be there, right? So, but what I'm trying to say that nowadays if you get a hard disk or server like where you have 2 terabyte, 3 terabyte kind of devices like storage, it's very difficult to find and identify the specific problem there if your spyware or malware is infected there. People do that. I mean that's why the antiviruses are for, right? But then if it's a malware or it's a bot kind of thing, definitely they will try to communicate, and that will be a single point of contact. They will try to communicate one dedicated maybe control center, CNC. So it's easy maybe to some extent to look into the packet level and understand what exactly is going on there. And yeah, so that is primarily the reason for this, and people that's why we are kind of here and we explore this area. And we have a lot of intelligent tools nowadays which can look into this thing, and intelligently they have signatures and they identify the issues on that. So packets never lie. That's what I want to say. Whatever is there, packets, that's like the proof that something happened there. But the problem is actually if you want to do a deeper analysis, there are really it's very difficult because there are a lot of packets. You have to dig deeper into the packet level, data level, and see it, right? So in general, if you simply just go ahead and start looking at packets, you might not be able to figure what exactly is going on. So what you need to do is probably you have to have some sort of approach, some sort of maybe break into phases and do it. And that's where in general we kind of break it into 3 phases. We call it analysis, conversion, and collection. So what does that mean is basically we first collect the packets. Then if it requires certain kind of conversion or maybe split, so you can split like huge volume of packets you get, you can split across maybe different based on different parameters and give it to different set of people who can look into the different areas. And then finally that set of people or the group of people, team, they will look into it and do analyze. So all 3 phases are equally important, and there are different tools available, and there are some tools which kind of allows you to do it in all these areas. Again, that too also is a primary level, but still it's a very good thing. And what are the kind of few tools you can say what people use for network forensics or packet analysis? Sorry? TCP dump, yes. Wireshark, right? Anything else? Ethercap, and there are a lot of like network miner is there and a few other tools. But if you ask in general, like what are the popular tools, most popular tool people use on a I'm talking about individual level if you want to look into it. Wireshark, right? And TCP dump as well. Wireshark, why? Because it's a very vast tool and it has a lot of support different for protocols, and it's been going on. It's an open source and a lot of people contribute to it, keep on adding new stuff, and very easy to customize also. You can learn about it and you can build your own plugin for Wireshark also. And TCP dump is more from command line based, so people who are Linux gurus, they prefer command lines. So TCP dump is the tool for them, and it is also used more from automation perspective. You can run scripts to dump and transfer and stuff like that. So for the TCP dump, these are all called sniffer. If you say like as in if you split it, they can sniff the packets, and that's how they collect the packets. And there are some tools which doesn't sniff. They only help you to analyze. What does that mean? That means you can give a packet, you can capture a packet and send it to this tool, which is let's say Explico, and they will help you to analyze that. So, so they are called offline packet analysis. Basically, you can take it and you can give it to them. So all the tools are pretty interesting, and yeah, primarily Wireshark is something I cover on this training, and yeah, that has a lot of features. Now, before you get into network forensics, there are some prerequisites. First thing is you need to have a lot of patience, because yeah, this has actually a lot of packets. You have to really go through it, look into it, understand what exactly is going on there, what are the different IP addresses involved in the communication, what kind of data is transmitted. So if you have to have a lot of patience, and you have to have look through these things, and don't conclude too early. You have to explore a lot. And so sometimes you feel like okay, fine, I'm almost there, I'm finding something, okay, I got some lead and going there and finding there, and eventually what happens, you might hit the dead end. So you might look into certain streams with certain assumptions, and then eventually you hit the dead end. So what happens is actually sometimes you become really frustrated, it's not possible. But then, okay, take a step back, take a deep breath, and start again. So you have to have a lot of patience, and you have to have a lot of way of looking into things in a differently. So once you've solved the case, definitely you will feel like it's a very good sense of achievements, because packet analysis is really a difficult job to do, and if you can really solve and do it, then there's nothing like that. You feel really great. I mean, at least the people who are there. Another prerequisite, you have to be really inquisitive. So you have to basically always look into it. You have to ask questions. You have to always say that okay, fine, I have to what is this? Why is this? Why it is not like this? So you have to keep on looking into it. So you have to have that inquisitive mind. Always try to explore different things. And even if it's like kind of maybe the pictures look disgusting, but the fact I'm trying to convey is you have to have that inquisitive mind to look through the packets, because one does not simply do network forensics. It's a really big domain, and it's very difficult things to do. Right? Any questions so far? Nothing, right? Because I'm just covering basics. Being a bit organized help you in long run, because when you get into a packet analysis that has like a lot of packets, and you might forget keeping track, or if you don't keep track of it, you will lose the track, and you won't be able to figure it out what exactly was happening earlier. So you have to have certain type of organizations, like you look into it. Let's say you keep a track of how many sessions alive and how many sessions you got, then you keep track of what are the IP addresses you got there, like that. So now what? So let's put it this way, you have to think it like you're solving a mystery. It's like a puzzle, and then you have to look into it. But the question is, where do we start? That these are the things you have to first plan it in your mind. That's what I'm going organizing. So what exactly things you should look into it, where do you start, what kind of questions you should ask, what tools do you need, and these are the things you should prepare before you come and start looking into this field, or if you start this work. And once you have these tools, and let's say I call it like you have your weapons, then you start looking into it. Because sometimes what happens that if you're not using the right tool or utility, you might end up in in a bigger problem of getting into the trouble of not finding the things which you're looking for, right? Yeah. So how do you do it? So as I told you, like we primarily do it in 3 phases. So first is you capture. You have to capture the packets, and the things you have to ask there is, where do I need to capture? How do I capture? What kind of data I should capture, and how long do I need to capture? What does that mean? Any idea? Where do I capture? What does that mean? I would prefer to interactive because then it will be easy to me understanding that whether you are getting it or not. So when I'm saying where do we capture, what I mean to say that is, if you talk about network, there are different levels, right? Let's say this thing is connected to the wireless here or the network. You have this individual box, you can capture on this level here. I can capture on the, let's say the router where it's connected, that layer, or maybe another endpoint, or maybe the outgoing traffic, the final gateway from there the traffic is going, you can capture in that level. Different layer, different positions or different location, you can fit your sniffer and you can capture the data. And that is very important because when you are trying to solve a problem, then you have to first realize that what is this problem is about. Is it, let's say there is an attack is happening from an inside IP or something like that, you would respect. Then probably capture inside the network makes sense than doing it on the final outgoing traffic kind of thing. Transfer. So once you capture the data, it may happen that you're in the crime scene, like you're capturing the data, and that is not the right place where you will do the analysis. So you will have to take it back to your office or something, the place you're gonna analyze this. While doing it, it's like more normal, like cybercrime, any investigation. You have to do, let's say, chain of custody kind of thing. You have to basically hash it, make sure that you are getting the proper hashes of the packets. You can split it so that you can distribute across your team and different team members who can work on it. But then again, why do you do the hashing? Just to make sure the integrity is correct. You're getting the right packet and you're analyzing on the right packet. And then eventually you try to analyze. And that is where we spend most of the time in this training to help you to understand this, how to analyze it and help you to build this skill set. When I'm saying analysis, you do in different level. Like you basically look into IP addresses, protocols, the durations, the time, the delay, what kind of delay is happening in the network traffic, like if there is any patterns, and definitely you try to generate different graphs and charts and stuff like that. Right? Now let's get into it. So what is the first thing? You have to capture the packets, right? How do you capture? Anybody has used Wireshark here? Okay, almost everybody. Can I ask what kind of purpose you have used it for? Malware analysis of? So how do you use it? Like you simply run the malware and capture the packet, something like that? To see if any outgoing traffic is going or incoming traffic is going or not. Okay. Anything else? Right, yeah. Right. But then, to be honest, this is not the tool which maybe the NOC or SOC people were using it. They have any much more advanced tool. But on an individual level, when you come as a forensic expert, you have to do it on your own, right? So definitely you will use this tool to look into this kind of things. So traffic delay, basically the troubleshooting the networks, malware analysis. Anything else? Right. Yeah, IDS IP signature writing. Anything else? Fuzzing of? Right. Yes.
Packets put into a fuzzer and
Right. So protocol fuzzing.
Yeah, protocol.
Actually, I think you have to run around too much because I'll be asking questions like this. Or I can repeat the answer if you want that. So what we got: malware analysis, network troubleshooting, IDS signature, and fuzzing. Yeah. So I'll share. Right. Yeah. So I'm just trying to. No, that's true. So what I'm trying to here convey it actually that why Wireshark is used, what kind of use case people are using it. So that's what I'm trying to say. So if you're familiar with what is malware analysis, that is the case where people use the Wireshark. But again, malware analysis is not the scope of this training, so I won't be covering it. But I'm trying to give you a perspective is where exactly this thing is getting used and what are the different areas people prefer to use this kind of tool. Because forensic is just a subject, but then where you apply it actually. So there are different like use cases for that, right? So on this note, actually, I just want to share a story where why I got into this network forensics. As you said, actually, I was working on a product which is a gaming solution. They use their custom protocols to communicate with client server, and there is no API, no documentation was available. So the only way for me to understand is to just capture the packets, understand the application layer protocol, what exactly they are using, and what kind of pattern they are using. And while I was doing that, someone tried to FTP to the server, and I got the packets. Now what is FTP? File transfer protocol. So they try to connect to a remote server, and definitely it asks for username passwords. So I got the packets. What is there? Anything interesting? Yeah, because FTP is a clear text protocol. It doesn't encrypt the passwords or username. So I kind of got the username password of that FTP server. So which kind of, I mean, I didn't know anything about, like, I was very basic user of Wireshark that time. But I said, oh, fine, there's something is really interesting. So this tool probably give me a lot of things, and this area is something interesting, where in packet level I can get all this data. Because otherwise then I have to put a plant, maybe a keylogger on his keyboard laptop to get the password, right? So that's how I started this domain, and eventually I kind of explored, and obviously I liked it more, so that that's why I'm here still. So while you're capturing the someone just keep track of time, yeah. Capturing the traffic, as I told you, you have to first you have to basically look into it. How do you want to capture? Is it like there are different ways you can do spanning or say port mirroring on the switch. So if you want to capture on a switch where all these connections are going, you have to do a port mirroring, and probably from there you have to get all the traffics, right? Or maybe you can, if it's a hub, hub switches, those devices, hub never, I don't think it's used nowadays, but generally what is the difference between hub and switch? Sorry? Okay, but it's a broadcast. Exactly. So hub doesn't, so if I want to communicate, let's say, to your laptop, if I'm using switch, it will directly go to you. Nobody else will get the packet. But it is a hub, it will send it to everybody. It's up to the user to accept it, okay, It's assuming that everybody is honest and nobody will accept the packet except you, because you are the legitimate user. And that's why hub is like kind of bad, and if you have a hub environment, your life is much easier. You don't have to do anything. You can simply start your packet capture and you'll get all the the packets. But if it's switch, then probably you have to do a port mirroring, or probably you can use some sort of taps or something like that. There are some malicious ways of capturing traffic also, called R poisoning and stuff like that, which is not a very good thing. But I mean, that is one way also do it actually. I can poison the entire ARP cache and tool kind of get all the traffic from an individual machine, right? Yeah, so these things are there, and there are different libraries are available. So you need to have Win Pickup library or Air Pickup libraries, which which is basically the underlying library which you get used to capture the traffic. So yeah, capture. If you are familiar with Wireshark, if you start capturing in Wireshark, this is the first thing you do, right? You have to first select the interface where you want to capture. Now this is nothing but this is a list of interfaces on your boxes. Now if you are using virtual machine and stuff, it gets very confused to start with, because if you see multiple interfaces are there, you won't be able to figure out which one is the right one. But then eventually from the IP column here, you can figure it out, and you can get the packets which is transmitted or like going through the network. So ultimately there is a live network. Obviously one interface will have much more packets, so probably you can start with that to capture, right? Now as I told you, when you start capturing, first thing first, you should try to understand the network. So probably you should talk to the network admin guys and see how your network is structured, laid out, what are the different subnets they have, what are the different switch router, so how they have kind of designed the entire network. Because once you get that understanding, then it will be much more easier for you to kind of put your sniffer in the right place so that you can get the right kind of traffic, right? You have to ask more questions. So don't hesitate if you like another guy whom you are asking the questions, who is owner of this, let's say, because see, if you are a forensic guy, someone would have invited you to solve the problem which they are not able to solve. And if you really need to solve the problem, you have to ask more questions to understand better. So doesn't matter, be shameless, whoever is kind of asking for whatever questions, like if they're getting offended also, you say, look, I need to ask these questions because I'm here to help you. So you have to ask for like what kind of networks, IPs, subnets, if they have any suspicion, if they have any kind of lead, if they want to do that. When do you want to start? Do you want to start right now, or do you have certain time frame where you want to start? And like this kind of thing. So more you explore, eventually the discussion goes further, you will get more details. What not to do? You do not scroll up and down and reading the packets manually. So when you're sniffing the packets in Wireshark and capture all the details, you'll get like plenty of packets. Like if I run it right now here, I'll get like random, even if it's not connected, I'll get random packets, because nowadays all the machines and OS are very chatty. They keep on like sending packets for different applications are there, and most of them are network facing. So they keep on sending different kind of packets. So if you really want to analyze, like you can scroll up and down and see the packets in the tool, but then that will not solve your problem because there is a huge load of traffic and it's very difficult to manually look into it. So what you need to do, you have to use different features of the tool, which helps you to kind of summarize this entire kind of data and give you a brief overview, and from there you can pick it up, right? Also, do not capture every traffic just for the sake of capturing. So let's say if you have an incident where, let's say somebody is saying that there is some malicious FTP traffic is going on and stuff like that, probably you might try to only filter and capture only FTP traffics, and then based on that you'll see if that requires something more, then you'll capture again. But then there is a challenge in that. If you try to filter and capture only a specific area, and if you are not correct, you might be losing evidences. So if you have enough storage, definitely capture everything, but then the filtering is up to you. You have to do your own filtering, right? And do not assume anything. Do not assume anything that, okay, fine, it must be an outgoing traffic, means it must be an attack from outside, and then I should focus on outside. Do not assume, just always go with the evidences. If you get a proof that something is concrete there, that there is something happening from outside, then you look into that area. So because there are a lot of times you lead to like wrong assumptions and wrong conclusion based on that, right? But how do you do it? These are too many things to cover, too many things to understand, and too many things to kind of grasp. So how do you do it? The solution is Wireshark. Yeah, so Wireshark has a lot of features, and people prefer Wireshark. They have their own kind of, even though other tools are there, this is like one of the basic tools. And why specifically we need Wireshark? Because it has brilliant features, and primarily the filters, which are very powerful. Using filter, what you can do is you can kind of quickly summarize and kind of filter traffic from the entire list of packets. Let's say you want to focus on only one specific communication between two specific IP addresses. You can quickly write a filter which will only show you only the communication packets which was there between those two kind of IP addresses, and it won't show anything else. And if you know further about filters, there are two types of filters are there, even capture filter and display filters. What is the difference? Anybody? Right. Right. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. Only capture that specific. Yeah. So yeah. So capture filter is actually the filter which is specified when you start capturing, and as a result, what happens is we'll get only specific traffic. You won't be getting any other traffic which is going through in the network, which is kind of scary, but which is sometimes, if you're really an advanced user and being an experienced guy, that would be something really handy, because you will get a small piece of packets and which you quickly just look into it and kind of analyze that. But display filter on the other hand, it will capture everything, it will not delete or remove or exclude anything. But when you type the filter, it will only show that much which you are looking into it. So people prefer display filters, and it is easier to write display filters than a capture filter. They have different syntaxes. But display filter is simply like if you are familiar with the coding, it's like if then else kind of thing, like IP address equals to this and maybe port equals to this, like that. It's a Boolean thing, right? Yeah, it has autocompletes also, so you don't have to remember all the syntaxes. It will help you. It gives you kind of color coded also. Like if filter is wrong, it will become red. If it is good, then it will become green. You can see it is green here on top. That means the filter is correct. So to start with as a beginner, it is really helpful that to understand am I writing the right filter or not, and also you can get recent usage history also, right? You don't have to remember. So also what you can do is when you capture the packets, you can simply just select a packet and then apply as a filter, and it will apply as a filter. So you can right click on a packet and you can say, you know what, I want to filter the packet only if, let's say, if you select on the column of source, actually you know what, I'll just open Wireshark. I hope it opens. So this is how it looks, the tool. I'll just quickly give you an overview. So what you can do is first you do capture interfaces, and anyway I'm not connected to the network, but this is my Wi-Fi internet this thing, the interface which will have the traffic. So let me see if I can connect to network. Okay, so I'll start capturing on this interface, and I say start. So as of now there is no traffic, but what if I connect to this? See, once I start connecting, immediately there is a lot of packets are happening. Okay, something is coming up. Enjoy connecting the first time. All these things are happening. So I'm just clicking on it, and you can see behind the scene, it's getting kind of capturing. So once you're done, you just simply say stop. Stop. Yeah. So it will show you. Let me close this. Yeah. So you can get all the packets. Now this is how typically a Wireshark rook, if you're familiar. For people who is not familiar, this is the interface. And what it tells you that it tells you the time, the source IP, the destination IP, which protocol it was communicated, and also some sort of description. So this is called a summary window, and then you get a more better, if you select a packet, you get the packet level details here. Like if you know TCP IP packet structure and something, so those details you will get it here, and the raw packet data will be here, right? So as I told you, this is the filter where you type. So let's say if I filter HTTP, I can simply type filter HTTP, and I get only the HTTP packets here, right? Now the creating filters from packet, how you can do that? So I can click on the source here. Let's say I want to filter from this source. One way to do it, I can type it here like ip.addr equals and blah blah blah, all these things, equals and then IP address. Or I can do something like I can select this, I can say apply as filter and selected, and you can AND or also, so you can append this also, multiple things. So if I select C, ip.source equals to this. So how it got that ip.ssc, how does it know that I have to filter IP source? Because I have clicked right click on the source column here. If I right click on the destination column and say apply as a filter and say AND selected, then it will be adding as IP as destination. Are you able to see that here? Right. So it's very easy to click and create a quick filter from here. So you don't have to remember anything and stuff like that. So that's why it's very very useful. Yeah. So follow TCP streams. What is that? Anybody? You should know, na? It aggregates all the packets and give you the entire stream. So TCP and UDP, what is the difference? One is connection oriented, one is connection less. What does that mean? TCP actually establishes the session, and it will basically always whenever it sends a packet, it waits for the acknowledgement. It gets that to make sure the packet is received or not, right? So if you do a follow TCP stream, you can get the entire communication. So what I can do is simply just if I look into the Webhook, what is Webhook? Come on. Oh. So let's say this one HTTP. So if I right click on this and do a follow TCP stream, I can quickly see the entire communication. And since it's HTTP, it is a HTML file, and I get all like clear text data, right? So this is how you do that. So you can do different, based on different protocol, you can do a follow TCP stream and you can get the details. Let's say Telnet, which is nothing but a clear text remote session kind of thing, right? You log into that. So you get all the credentials, everything, if somebody is trying to do a Telnet. So that's how it is. Okay. So here is what you need to do if you want to really do using these tools and features. You have to first understand the flow, and you have to reconstruct, let's say, if any communication and files are going through, and it's more like understand who is attacker, who is the victim, and then figure it out, what exactly happened there, how they have attacked it. There will be multi-staged attack if you know about exploitations. They can maybe probably try to exploit first and then probably plant a backdoor, and using that there is something called pivoting also. I can exploit one box, and using that box I can do a tunneling, and I can do a pivot to another, I can exploit another box. So you have to first understand those things and basically figure it out what exactly is this stupid thing. Okay. Reconstruct the crime scenes. Now how do you do that? As I told you, Webhook has a lot of features. To summarize it and give it to you, where you should start looking at it. First is you have a statistics protocol hierarchy. Anybody used it here? Okay. So what does it do? It will give you basically the list of all the protocols which is there in the communication happened, and what is the percentage or usage of how many packets are in each protocol. So you can clearly see from there like where the major communication is happening, which protocol is impacting the bandwidth, where exactly is it's under statistics, and then protocol hierarchy is the option. You can see like layer based distribution of the packets. So let's say I see a huge volume of FTP data is going on. That means some file transfer, somebody might be stealing data. So that makes more sense to me. Now I can look forward and look for that. Statistics endpoints, another feature in statistics only. You can go to statistics menu and see that. What does it do? It will show you all the addresses and the port which are present in the packet you have captured. So basically it will give you the list of endpoints which are involved in the communication which you have captured. So from there you can look into it and get the list of all the IP addresses. You can categorize it, say internal IP, external IP, maybe class A, class B, class C IP, and then you figure it out, which area of network you should look into it. Right? Conversations. This is one of my favorite, where exactly it will say you that which machine has communicated with which machine and which protocol, what is the number of packets has been transmitted, and stuff like that. How much time do I have? 5 minutes? Okay. So yeah, conversations. So these are the things you should first look into it, and you can do it. Now this is another, if you really going forward and working on it, something you should master, which is coloring the rules. Because this will help you to quickly highlight the packet which you are looking for. Let's say you can create a filter, and you can say that I'll make a rule which will highlight in red color whenever I get a packet which is matching that rule. So when you're capturing, suddenly you can see this red patches, and you can figure it, oh, something is wrong, so I should look into it. So coloring rules are very helpful and useful for that. So these are the different features, and if you really work on it, yeah, definitely you will be a pro, and it will be really helpful for you. So yeah, these are a few references. So primarily, I look forward to a lot of things. Like one is primarily Webhook University, because that is where you get a lot of sample packets to capture. Webhook.org, you can go there. A lot of sample packets are there. You can download and you can look into it. They have different attacks are there available. And obviously, I'm really a great fan of Vivek Ramchandran's videos. So security, they have a lot of tutorials available. And pictures, courtesy is not mine, so I have taken it from internet. So yeah, thanks to the creators who have created those pictures. So that's it mostly for this small short session. As I told you, this is a pure technical hands-on session and it's very difficult to cover everything. So that's much I can cover right now. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So your question is, let me repeat the question. So your question is, when you're collecting the packets, are you assuming the attack is happening, or are you doing it post-attack investigation, right? So there are two parts of it. One is, it depends on when they are calling you to help them. Is it like is their attack is ongoing and that is the time they have realized something and they are immediately calling you, or is it something has happened, data has been breached or compromised, and then they are calling you? So in any way, you have to do this investigation and figure it out what exactly going. If it is a post-attack, what is the purpose of attack? Definitely, either they will try to do a data theft, or they will try to maybe compromise your system to plant some backdoors and use it. Something might be there post-attack, which they will try to do. So then, if you are getting there, then that will be your motive to figure it out what exactly happened. What is the impact of the attack? So try to see what is the kind of outgoing traffic going on, or is it stealing some data and stuff like that. So irrespective of that, I would say that if I ask me that whenever I will come, it will be the same approach I will be following, which basically is looking for suspicious traffic, be it an attack or be it a post-attack, let's say some sort of data theft or something. Yeah.
Let's say DDoS attack happens and you are called for investigation and gathering the forensics. Attack has already happened.
Right.
Would your approach still be the same in terms of trying to figure out how it happened, where it came from?
That you definitely require, because you need to prepare a report and submit to them, which basically you have to say, reconstruct, like explaining that what exactly went wrong. One part is when it has happened, like you have to why it has happened, and what is the reason for that. Is it because of they have some sort of, like what kind of action items out of it? Do they need to kind of do an IDS improvement signatures to prevent this kind of things? Whether do I have to patch their servers, or do I have to re-image the servers because they have already been compromised? So you have to basically do this analysis and come up with all these points on that. Yeah. Right.
And the present advanced persistent threats, will the attacker will leave space to analyze and do the forensics?
That's a very good question.
Since my doubt is like whatever the approach we are following, whatever we discussed right now, will not yield a result.
This is more like offline thing, but what you are talking about, in that case, it will be live forensics kind of thing. You have to capture, like that's what you have to work with the knock maybe.
Since I hope at the situation when the attack has been completed, analyzing the logs and taking the dumps will be a good approach rather than going for the live traffic and live traffic analyzation. If I'm not wrong, just correct me.
I would say both are equally important. Why? Because two things. One is obviously logs are very important, but in my experience, when you try to collect the log, you'll realize you'll hardly find enough log which will support your case. Because in a lot of incidents I personally experienced, they don't have any log maintenance properly. They don't have enough logs. They maybe shredded the log or something like that. They haven't configured it also sometime. So that is number one, which is if it happened already, from there you can kind of trace back where exactly it happened. But then once it happened, after that, what exactly? Is it still active? Is it doing something malicious? For that, this kind of approach also will be required.
If it is not normal, like involved into the PCA type of a thing,
right?
Then the attacker may keep chance and the scope for us to analyze, or otherwise it will be in a bit of a flash that he has came and.
See, at the end of the day, where we don't know anything, all of it's like, as I told you, it's like a puzzle. So we definitely going to do, but as I told you, I mean, I agree with you, the logs are equally important. We definitely have to collect the logs and find out the kind of network communication from there. That is also been equally important. Because if you know, definitely the other things we try to do is, as an attacker, they try to clear their traces, right? They clear. If they have compromised the machine, they might be removing the logs itself.
Absolutely.
So you won't be able to figure the logs there.
That's what
but then if they plant the malware, you will be able to figure it out something is going back or not.
That's great time.
Yeah. So that's, yeah.
So just to leverage the last question, basically we are all talking about the traditional way of doing the forensics or the methodology, doing as a postmortem or a kind of assessment, taking the dumps in the offline, are very important to safeguard, to avoid the attack, but at the same time, it will be in the production environment. So what are the challenges? How do you manage? So that's very important.
Let me put it this way. I would say you are asking the question, to me it sounds like, why do we need knock and SOC in an enterprise? Because, I mean, if you're doing a live traffic, as an individual level, you cannot do it because it's a large enterprise. And that is exactly the job of those teams who are basically looking at it and correlating the data using much more advanced tools, which has this intelligence to figure it out and raising alerts. And then you come as an expert to kind of look into it, investigate and see whether it's a false alarm or where it's to do that. But yeah, I go with you that, what are the challenges? Obviously the challenge is continuous monitoring. That is something you really have to do, and then how basically you are correlating the data, because a lot of the cases, the trend I see that, if something has happened, some spikes happened, people don't want to take a chance. They simply say block that IP, or block this kind of network, or block this traffic kind of thing. It's just a safer approach they are doing. Nobody is nowadays don't go further and say, is it really required? Why exactly it's happening? Or what if it can happen from somebody else? It's more like a reactive situation than a proactive way of doing it, people do. But that is required considering the production environment, because you don't want to mess with the production environment.
Absolutely.
So it's safer way to do it, simply just go and block this thing and then kind of be safe. So that's the kind of approach I see. But coming back to basics, if you want to work on that environment, this is equally important, because if you don't have this expertise, you won't be able to solve it.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
I think we don't have time for questions anymore. But anyway, I'll be around here. I think I'll talk to you because they have to proceed further. So we can catch up offline after that. Okay. Thank you, everybody.